Welcome to the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Perda. I'm a life and marriage coach for moms, wife, mom of 3, and I'm also an Aries, and for my fellow human design nerds, a sacral manifesting generator. This podcast is for women who want to be happier in their marriage as they navigate their journey through motherhood, even if you're like me and you weren't shown how while growing up. Inside, we're going to be talking about breaking generational cycles when it comes to how to handle conflict in healthy ways, redefining motherhood your way, and prioritizing your well-being, because here, we believe that women don't have to sacrifice their happiness to be a great mom. And a quick note to mamas listening with kids around, you may want to pop your earbuds in because nothing is left unsaid on this show, which means there may be times where something I say isn't meant for little ears. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. This episode is about how to know if your marriage needs work, right? I'm not going to lie. Marriage is not always sunshine and rainbows, right? And if you walked into marriage feeling like that was the bar that you had to meet, let's just abolish that one, okay? Let's just trash that, because marriage, just like everything in life, like in nature, it goes through seasons, right? There's times where it feels like, much like motherhood actually, where you're like, yeah, everything is smooth sailing. And then something happens and you're like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. What is life, right? I often have those moments when it comes to motherhood where I'm like, yeah, I am doing so amazing. I got this in the bag. And then they do something that has me just like feeling, wow, I don't know shit. I just don't know shit. And I need to humble myself right now. Do you ever feel like that? I hope I'm not alone. But anyway, back to talking about marriage, right? Marriage goes through seasons too. There is just so much pressure put on marriage when it comes to how we deal with life, right? We expect our partners to be a certain way, to meet our expectations, to make us happy, so on and so forth, right? And we're not always doing this intentionally. Sometimes it's very much unintentional. And even being a marriage coach, it happens for me too, right? I'm like, oh, shoot, I was subconsciously expecting you to do this thing that I never shared, or I had this unrealistic expectation that I was holding over you. And of course, you didn't meet it. And this is why I feel this way, right? So here are some things that I put together to help you kind of figure out where you're at in your marriage. How are things, and whether the next step is to work on your marriage, whether it's on your own, buying some books, getting some free resources, or taking it a step further and seeking out support, whether it's, therapy, counseling, coaching, whatever. Here are some signs, or here are some things to consider rather, to figure it out. So it's really easy, just like to be on autopilot, right? We've got so much shit going on all the time. Kids to take care of, life, work, family, friends, whatever, right? It's really easy to kind of become complacent and just accept things for as they are. And so right now, as you listen to this episode, I want you to not be that. I want you to be real with yourself and be brutally honest with yourself and assess how things are actually going, right? Because fine, while is okay some of the times, that's not the bar that you want to set or the word you want to use to describe how you feel in your marriage. Oh, it's fine, right? That's terrible. That's not what I want for you, right? So here are some questions for you to ponder over. Are you having fun together regularly? Does your marriage feel fun? Or does it feel heavy? Right? Do things feel like boring and heavy and frustrating, or does it feel light and fun? Right? Not to say that you're always laughing and giggling to yourselves. Like, if that's the case, power to you. My husband and I are not like that. But in general, are you laughing together, like on a daily basis? Or heck, even like every other day is fine, right? Are you able to actually enjoy each other even if you can't like regularly go on dates? Are you able to enjoy the little moments together where you catch their eyes across the room and you do something silly, or maybe you flirt with them, right? Do you have those moments of lightness and joy in your relationship still? How does the vibe in your home feel like? Does it feel like, oh, I want to be here. I want to stay here. This is my safe place. I love it here. Or does it feel like, oh, is it bedtime yet? I don't enjoy being here. I want to find any and every excuse to leave. I genuinely don't enjoy spending alone time with my partner. And this is just not what I imagined it to be like, right? This is the time to be honest. What's the vibe between you and your partner when the kids go to bed or when they're not around? Are you like excited to hang out? Are you bonding? Are you doing things together? Or is it kind of awkward and you guys are kind of just doing your own thing, but under the same roof, right? Like more or less being co parenting roommates instead of being in a relationship together where you create new memories and enjoy the time that you have together and really like not take that time alone together for granted. What is that time like? What does it feel like? What are your conversations like? And how do you feel when you're in a conversation with your partner? Do things feel fun, enlightening, stimulating, supportive, joyful, deep, open, authentic? Or do things feel like frustrating and difficult and just like high conflict where you can't even sit through a conversation without someone getting offended or someone feeling not supported, not seen, or not heard, right? How do conversations feel like? That's a really big sign right there. Do you see your partner as your teammate still, right? Like you literally said, I do in hopes for true partnership. And if you are not able to see your partner, as your teammate, that's a huge problem because life is always going to have things that come up where you need to work through them. And having someone on your side and seeing someone on your side makes a huge difference, right? Because when you see your spouse as not your teammate, oh man, that creates a lot of drama that does not need to exist. It creates more conflict because you aren't able to notice that they're actually trying to support you. Or maybe they don't notice that you're trying to support them. And it just like everything you say comes off wrong. And they just don't see, or you don't see your intention behind what you're saying. So no benefit of the doubt is given. It's just all seen through a lens of why would you say that? And like just not giving you like that assumption that you mean well, right? And How open are you with each other when you're talking? Are things pretty like surface level and you're just talking about like who's going to do what for the kids, chores, job stuff, logistics stuff? Or are you actually like sharing how you feel, what you desire, your goals, and how things are really doing, right? Not the like, oh, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. Not that, but like actually having heart-to-heart conversations where you feel like you are getting to know your spouse on a deeper level and you are allowing yourself to be seen, right? That's not always easy, but it's so essential to grow as a couple, which leads to the next question, right? Like, do you actually feel like you're growing as a couple, right? Conflict cannot be avoided in marriage. And that's not the point either, right? But conflict can be used as a catalyst for growth. So, is conflict in your marriage actually being utilized as a way to get to know yourself better and get to know them better and getting to know how you two work together so that you can become a stronger unit? Or is conflict being used as a weapon, as a source of confirmation that marriage is hard? Right? Like, I hate that phrase. Like, yes, marriage has hard times, but marriage does not need to be hard. And if you're using marriage is hard as an excuse to stay stuck in your suffering inside of your marriage, I need you to hear me and wake up. Okay. If you're in that place where you're like, marriage is hard, it is just how it is, and everyone around you is also, subscribing to this belief, then I think you need to hang out with different people, maybe invite different approaches into how you handle things, because yes, like life, things can be hard, but it is in the way that we choose to see the issues and how we choose to tackle them that make all the difference. So while conflict is not comfortable and can be hard to deal with, it doesn't have to be the end of your marriage. It can be like oh, this is a growing opportunity. Okay, what am I being asked to learn about myself here? What am I being asked to learn about my partner here? How can we function better? How can we fight better next time? Right? That's truly mine and my husband's approach to conflict, is how can we do this better next time? Like, what did I learn about myself that I can support myself through? What is it that I need, that I want to request of my husband next time? What was his experience like? What does he need? How can we be there for each other in a better way without losing our voice and grow stronger? Because that's the whole point, right? And also, like, do you feel supported? Do you feel supported by your partner? Or do you feel like you're doing things alone? There could be a number of reasons why you might feel that way, but that's a great question to ask yourself. Do you actually feel like you have a partner in life right now? Or is it just a body in the house? Something to think about, right? And then last but not least, do you wake up each day feeling grateful for your relationship and for what you have together? Or do you kind of like look at them and like, how did we get there? How did we get to this place where I look at you and all I feel is resentment and anger and sadness and loneliness, right? That is a huge red flag right there, that something needs to change, right? And it doesn't always mean none of this. Like, if any of your answers here are not ideal, none of that means that your marriage will not work out, right? All it means is that something needs to change, right? I cannot tell you how your future is going to look like. I wish I could. I'm not psychic. Although I do feel like I sometimes have psychic gifts, but that's for another episode. That doesn't mean that your marriage is doomed. It really is just a sign like, hey, a wake-up call, something needs to shift. Whether it's you doing the work to change your approach, maybe become more attuned to your own needs so that you can communicate better. Maybe it's about communicating better in general, like your communication skills. Maybe it's you focusing more on being the right partner rather than criticizing your partner for not being your right partner, right? There's so many different aspects to like that contribute to what's going on today, and you are a part of that. You are not innocent, although I really sometimes wish I could say that about myself, because it's way easier to blame and be like, no, this is your fault. This is why we're here. And I have no part in this. And you just need to change. I need to continue being me because I'm perfect, right? Like, I totally understand that. And that is just simply not true. Okay. So ask yourself all these questions. Feel free to replay this over and over and over again. Maybe even like journal it out, but really be honest with yourself about like, where are we? Do a marriage assessment and figure out, well, where do I want to be? Where do I want to be? And what ways, what resources do I have to help us get there, right? Marriage takes practice. Practice makes progress. And know that there are so many resources out there that are available to you to help you navigate through this. And if coaching is one of those resources that you feel like you are ready to dive into, I do that. Okay. So if you're feeling lost in your marriage and you know that you're unhappy, but you don't know what to do next, whether it's like, okay, I'm committed and I want to do the work to figure out what's going on, or maybe you're like, I don't know what the future for us looks like. I don't know if I want to stay. I don't know if I want to go. I just know that I'm unhappy. Either of those scenarios, I got you. Okay. Because your happiness is truly my priority. So think of me as a marriage coach who doesn't really care if you stay married or not. And I mean that with all the love in the world, right? Because I only care about whether you are living your best life, however that looks like, whether that means doing the work and truly seeing if your work and you approaching your marriage as the right partner turns things around, or if it's like, hey, let's take a last ditch effort and come from a place of, oh, this is not working for us. We're just not compatible. And being able to exit your marriage feeling confident and clear instead of emotional and angry, and making that decision from your feelings rather than, being able to be like, no, I absolutely will not have any regret with choosing this option, right? I am here for you. Let's do the work. Let's figure out what's going on. Let's figure out what the next steps are, because I'm not here to be like, stay in your marriage just to be married, because that does not serve you. That does not serve your spouse. That also doesn't serve your kids. Your kids need a happy parent more than they need you two to stay together just to stay together. Okay. So whatever path you feel like you need to go down, have the courage to put yourself first, have the courage to prioritize your happiness, because everyone wins when you do that. And it might not feel that way in the short term, but in the long term, I promise you, your happiness is key. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. This is something that you can re-listen to and revisit anytime you feel lost in your marriage and you're like, wait, how are we doing? And you might find that your answers are like, wow, we actually are doing pretty good. Or you're like, we need some help here, right? Just be honest with yourself. That's all I ask of you. Okay. So Stay tuned for another episode. And I hope you guys are having an amazing day. And reach out if you need support. I'm here for you. I just want you to be happy. Okay? I'll talk to you later. Bye. And that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. I hope that this episode helps you deepen your relationship with your husband and, more importantly, with yourself. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a second to rate and review it. Each review helps us to help more moms just like you have a more fulfilling life and marriage, because we all deserve to have that and so much more. If you want to help spread the word, take a screenshot and share this episode on your IG stories and tag me at Michelle Perda Coaching. And if you'd like to request a specific topic for a future episode, put your request in by sending me a DM. See you back here next week. Bye.